Hello, can you hear?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, October.
Hi.
My phone's not working. It's not closing.
So what are we gonna do?
Not
Who's
sure.
giving the share? Naftali, you giving the share?
No,
I can't
Sean,
even,
want a cookie?
I can't even try. It's Charlotte could do this.
Take a cookie.
No, I do on the way back.
You'll make me feel good if you eat one,
I know.
because that's why I don't have to.
Charlotte could do it. Charlotte is very
You
strong.
wanna give the share?
I could do it
You can
on.
do it without reading it. In other words, the Hebrew is a bit difficult still reading the Hebrew. Is
I could do it for
You could do it.
in.
elements, yes, he'll do it.
I don't know her.
Okay, we're not giving elements, yes, sure now. Okay, so sure.
On the elevator.
No, I wanna walk.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's my chance. Can you open the door for me?
Everything today about the coffee machine. It's our Chinese.
Mhm.
Good, thank God for that.
Open it, no? I wanna walk. You can go by elevator, I wanna walk. See you upstairs. I need the exercise, this is good for me. This is good, I love it. Let's. First time for us. It's cold.
Usually go this time.
Oh.
Yeah. So Naftali, are you looking quickly at it to see if you can do it?
I'm looking quickly at it, but I already know that I'm not going to do it. I'm
Okay.
really not ready to do this.
Yeah. Gosh, you sound just like me. Funny.
Last night, Yitzi volunteered
Oh,
running.
he did?
Yeah, he volunteered Dr. Stein.
Oh, he volunteered Dr. Stein.
No, I didn't see any response from Dr. Stein, though.
Oh. So we have to.
I think you should do it.
And we use the other on that,
The what?
the other to the rabbi.
I don't know.
Just play it.
Oh, this is not easy. Yeah, he could have asked Marlo, but he didn't. It's too late now.
Well, I guess we could individually or together go online with one of the shiurim.
Oh, boy. We're up to the Mishnah, right?
Yeah, we're at the Mishnah on Lamed Vav.
Yep, that started
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Shorsh and Negat.
I mean, the Mishnah's not too hard. No. Oh boy, no. This is math. Listen,
I think
yeah.
it's not the worst thing in the world if we each individually listen to one of the shiurim that are available online.
Or maybe I could play one of the ones from the Ada and everybody listens to them.
We can do things. I don't know.
Right between the ear. It was funny with the
I don't know how this works. There's a sword.
Your phone's stupid.
They have to open
Yeah,
it.
you could have just
Should I play with it?
the word up on 34.
Okay. You're on. Well, it's all yours.
Um, Resnick, 15 minutes for 34.
No, I do the real guy. No, I got the beard. No, we need 36. This is 34.
36, word on 36.
We're at 36, yeah. Well,
I said you put the lip. She look and tell one of these.
yeah, but it's too long. I need one that has the heat for nothing. By this guy?
Betekent we Kamma Daf Lamed Vuf, en ze gaan met strikse dat Lamed Kai om het beiden te maken.
That's not gonna work too fast.
The one that I've done is the Resnick. He's pretty quick. And at least the funny.
This one? That you're gonna just press it, you left it open.
All technology is stuck this time.
Without the sound.
Is he on?
No, he's not. That's tiny. So it's just.
But with Kamma Daf Lamed Vuf, you get on the second line down for the top of the Amud. You want to continue to explain the Mishnah of the previous stuff. Now, the Mishnah said regarding the halacha of the monetary law, which is called hamitzvah of very all of a raya. Regarding if someone wants to.
Oh, they mamish do it. Okay, it's a little bit further down there. Sounds irritating. Well, keep on going. Get someone who's more relaxed.
At least the funny one takes like an hour.
I'll try one. We call in him. Well, he hasn't learned it. How would he know?
Sometimes he goes ahead.
Mas name at sure.
Yeah, we're starting about the second line with the words Hayushnim Shalosh Echad Shneim Hayavim. That he's not sponsored legally Nishmas. Of course, we are Bas Reactor Baja, Ernest Shamash Havnalia, Nishmas with them on
I think the Shama should have really just like she was talking about the truth being short, the shimon short down the street, when they're at the scene of the crime, they saw the shimon short was in a bitch.
Yes, they're gonna have to do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They start on the top here. We're down here.
yeah, I think this is a good try, but I think I'm gonna sign off and listen to one of the shiurim I have online, because there
Yeah, I
I'm
don't-
getting it, I'm getting it third hand if I listen to what you're playing on.
Yeah. Okay,
All right,
okay,
Hatzlacha,
Good day. Good Yom Tov.
Yom Tov.
okay, so I'm gonna try to do this. Shal, come, let's sit down, let's do this quickly.
What about this one?
Shal, yalla, 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 yalla. You have the English, you have English, let's try to do it quickly and get on with it. Okay.
What are you doing this one?
Okay, I'll try it, I'll play it, and then you guys will help me out. Shosha Naga, sure. Look at the Mishnah. Mishnah. No, Lamed Vav.
What about
We'll keep on going, because you have the top of the page.
here? Look, this is,
I know, but that's the top of the page, you have to go down to the Mishnah.
oh, it's a no, so confused.
Keep on going,
Where is it?
here. The new parak. Okay, there we go. Okay. Sure, ox that gored. Arba b'chamisha. You want to hear a Mishka Bible share today? Because I have no clue what I'm saying. No, we for the last 10 minutes we were trying to see if we can get a recorded share. This is hard stuff, man. And I only found out about it 5 minutes ago, so I haven't practiced this. I only went to sleep at 3:30.
What?
I only went to sleep at 3:30. I love you too, brother. Shoshanagach arba v'chamisha, an ox that gored 4 and 5 shvarim oxes. Zachar zev, each one after the other. Yishalem lachar, he has to go and he only pays. He starts paying from the last one, shipahim, the last one that's in it. V'im yeshbo mutar, and if he has enough money from the skin or from the selling of his own ox, yachzir shlefanav, then he can go and pay back from the one that's before it. V'im yeshbo musar, and if he still has more in the value from his own ox after he paid the last two, yachzir shlefanav, shlifnei fanav, he'll now go back and pay the third one from the end. V'acharon acharon niskar, and the last one is the one who benefits the most. Diver Ravi Meir. When it says acharon niskar, that's what I'm not sure. So the last one is really the one who gains. Diver Ravi Meir. Shimon says, Shor Shove Masai. If the ox was worth 200. What? Yeah, yes. I'll only do that if I don't know what I'm talking about, which will be most of it. Shor Shaveh Masayim, if the ox was worth 200, Shenagach l'shor Shaveh Masayim, that gored an ox that was also worth 200. Ve'ein hanevela yafa klum, and the nevela and the carcass of the ox that was gored is not worth anything. Notel manem mizeh, v'zenotel manem. Okay, zenotel manem. So what happened? Oh, but this is probably talking about a what do we call it? It's a tam. He only has to pay half. So they sell the living ox. This one takes 100, and this one takes 100. What happens if that same animal, the same ox, gored again? Sharacher gored another ox that's worth shelvema, that's also worth 200. Now this is what happens. Acharon notel moneh. The last one who just now got gored also takes 100 out of it. B'shafanav zenotel chamishim zenotel chamishim. Wow. So if if my ox went and gored an ox and killed it, and then immediately went and gored another one, right? The second one is worth 200. The first one's 200, and mine is worth 200. So what happens? We sell my ox. The first one gets 100. The second one gets 500, and I get 50, and I get 50. Okay. So the last one's the one who has the most benefit. page?
I thought we'd go to
36.
231.
Okay, so Zenotel Chamishim Zuz, Zenotel Chamishim Zuz. This one takes 50, meaning the second. No, sorry. The first one that got gored gets 50, and the one who owns the ox gets 50. Chazav v'negach shor acher. So now he's gored his third one. Okay, that's also shaveh masayim. That's also worth 200. So he says like this: the last one. So there's three. The first one he hit. The second one. The last one. The last one, achronotel mona takes his 100. The one before it, the middle guy, chamishim zuz, and the first one that was gored, and the goring animal, so each one takes dinar zev, which is 25. Okay, that's the Mishnah. So the Gemara asks, matniti mani, who's this Mishnah like? It says the look Rabbi Shmuel. It's not like Rabbi Shmuel. Who the look Rabbi Akiva? It's not like Rabbi Akiva. Why? Rabbi Shmuel. If you say that it's like Rabbi Shmuel, that he said the Amar Bale Chovos Ninu. Rabbi Shmuel apparently had an opinion that when you gore another animal, now when you owe him, it's like a Baal Chayv. If you're a Baal Chayv, which means you become like a you owe him the money. It's not that you're paying a penalty, but it's more in a way of owing. So here in the Mishnah it says, "Hi achron niskar." How can you say that the last one is the one who gains? According to Rabbi Shmuel, it's Rishon niskar. The first one is the one that should have gotten paid the 100, and then you move it down, because the first one that you owe money is the first one you should get paid back. The second one, it goes in that order. But here we see that the Mishnah says that it's the last one who gains. Mivaila. It should have been. Rabbi Akiva, if you're saying that our Mishnah is like Rabbi Akiva, the Omar Torah, the Shutfihu, that when you go now and gore, so your ox now becomes like a partnership. You own part of it, and the one who you gored owns part of it. Musar, if there's any extra left when you sell off the animal, yachzir shalafana. Kol chatziniskay. B'shalifnei panav yafsid. So what's he saying here? So if that's the case, here it says if he has any left over, he should pay it. So, ayesh bo musar yachzir. Okay, so now I need help. Okay, ouch. Yachzir shalafanav. Rashi says kol chatziniskay. He has to get the entire half. Are
you on the Gemara now?
Yeah, I'm now on the top of Lamed Vav. I'm on Lamed Vav on the top of the page.
Okay. Yeah. But yes, sir.
So what's it over there? What Yachzir Shalafanav? Duh. Okay, so the Mishnah says that if he has left over, he gives to the second. The Gemara says, you're supposed to pay everybody back, and whether you have it or not in the animal, you owe him because you're like a partner, and the partner has to pay back. That's it. Okay, you understand? So he's saying, why should you only pay him part of what's left over from his animal? If you're partners, you know, if you don't have it, fine, sell your pots, right? Amarava. So Rava says, La'olam Rabbi Shmuel. The truth is, we do hold that it's like Rabbi Shmuel, and even though Rabbi Shmuel says that it should be the first one who gets, that's what Rabbi Shmuel says wherever. Does anyone know where Rabbi Shmuel says this? Aleph, where's Aleph? El Lamed Gimel, apparently a few pages earlier. Okay, so he says even La'olam Rabbi Shmuel, the Amar Balei Chovos Nina, that they're really, he now owes them the money. With the kashyalach, and what you're asking, achron niskar, how can it be that the last one's benefiting and rishon niskar mibale, and it should have been that the first one is gaining? No, what's the words there? What are we talking about over here in the Mishnah? Aha. So what happens is that the last one that got hit, which one? So what happens is that the first one, so it's considered that when his animal gores, it's not just that he gores and then they go to Beis Din, but actually the owner of the one that got damaged, he goes and catches. He puts on a lasso and he goes and catches the goring animal. And he says, I'm not giving this back to you until I get my share of the money that's owed. And therefore now the nizak is the owner of the damaged animal. He becomes like a shomer sachar. He now becomes like a paid guardian on that animal. So it's now in the reverse. The last one's holding it. He's responsible for it, and that's why he gets first. Linizoki. So therefore, anything that happens to that animal, yeah.
What if an animal boards an animal and right after that animal boards?
It's a good one. Wait for all. He asked a good question there. What happens if A gored B, but then C gored A? So A is out. Well, I don't know. That really depends if you.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions there.
No, yeah, because are they like shutofim? That's a whole gemara. That's the Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Akiva argument. That's exactly their argument.
No, but this is the same animal who killed him.
Yeah.
That's
Well, they can't kill each other. So
that's if he
if
kills
one's
A,
dead, he can't kill
and
the
then he kills B.
other.
Who thinks?
Okay, machlekes. It's a good machlekes. Okay, one second. Let me work this one out. So the one who got gored is holding on to it, and therefore he becomes like a shomer sachar and a zaki. And shmira so olav. Read the English there because who's now?
He's responsible for any subsequent acts.
Well, who is now in charge? What's it? If you had Ruvain, Shimon, and Levi, right? Ruvain's animal gores Shimon's. Okay, so that's easy. But if Ruvain's animal now goes and gores Levi's animal, so we say that Levi is the one who first gets 100, and if there's a leftover, Shimon will get.
Depends whose opinion.
So what's that? So we're talking about Rabbi Shmuel. So we're saying no. We can even say Rabbi Shmuel that normally would say the first guy gets it, but here we're going to say that no. Why the last guy gets it? Because Levi went ahead and puts a lasso on it and holds on to it. He says, I want my money.
To
Ruvain's,
yeah.
No, something.
So the paid watchman is not responsible for any damages. So whatever surplus he has from when he collects his money
is going to go
give it
back
to
now.
his
Is
owner.
going back to Shimon. So no. So that's to answer your question. Okay. So basically, that's why the last one gets it, because he's the one who's holding on to it. So he collects his money. So the Gemara says, "Ihachi." If that's the case, yesh ba musar. If there's extra left over, yachzish lefanav, and the Gemara and the Mishnah says you give it back to Shimon. You give back to the one in front of him. It shouldn't be that yachzil labali. If that's the case, you should actually give whatever's left over back to the owner, back to Reuven, right? And let Reuven worry about his problem. But as far as Levi goes, he has to give all the money back. Mibale. Omar Ravina Hachiksani. This is what it's really saying. Im yesh bo mosar benezakov yachzir shlafan. So what's that saying? Yachzir labalim balim. That's what I'm doing the Rashi. Shadnez mishon shari la ha'is ashirason aleim elol nizak. Ukshehesik lasheni. Okay, that makes sense. Revi goes higher than the fifth. We go on Shosh. Right. Wow, so it said, it's going comments. I knew this is math, and I don't like that.
It says the later party.
So now they're adding a fourth and a fifth into the story. So he's saying that if the fourth animal was only worth 100, and the fifth is only worth 50, and each time we're saying that the one who gets damaged holds on to the one in front of it. So now he's holding 100, he's only going to get 25.
And the
And
50,
and that's what, and then that's the money that keeps on going backwards.
and the 50 is gonna get.
He says here only no, he's only gonna get 25 of his 50, the number 5.
The part
And then he's going to give back a dinar. How much is a dinar, Shalom? Dinars of
Was it 4 Sada?
rely on others to tell me that.
Is this, well, the paid watchman is responsible for all the damage that the ox that he's watching does.
Let's open this up. Yeah, there's one. Ben Zakov. Who's it referring to? Ben Zakov. Kigan Nisko Shel Revi. Ruba Shel Chamisha.
The injured party shall return the surplus.
Okay, I'm getting it. Okay, I'm getting this right. So therefore, so he's saying that if it's going down, so the Mishnah says this is 200, 200, 200, and place it that one. But what happens then when you have a fourth one, and the fourth one wasn't worth 100, it was only worth 100, right? So he's holding on. But then the fourth one goes and hits the fifth one. The fifth one's only worth 50, right? So he's saying that because it's not the amount, even though he's saying they're Baal Chov, even though he becomes like a owner, but he says, but what are you paying from? Musar ben Zakov, if he has extra left over from his damaged amount that needs to be paid to him, it's referring to the money that's left over.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he was able to give it back. And so we see Ki'isa Ravin, when Ravin came, probably Teretz Yisrael, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Mishum Pshias Shemrim Naguva, because of the worry, right? So and the reason Rabbi Shmuel turns around and says that you're supposed to go back to the first, because otherwise, people who are watching the animal, they're not going to care, right? So in order to make them be a little bit more responsible, that's why he says that they should have to pay up to the front, so they shouldn't. So it was a chiddush. In other words, he definitely to say you start from the end. Why did Rabbi Shmuel say you also have to go from the first? Because otherwise, people weren't watching their oxes properly and letting them damage. Yahachi say ema seifa. So now he says, okay, so let's say we get that right and we understand that it's really that it can't fit by Rabbi Shmuel, but the seifa seemingly contradicts that. Rabbi Shimon Omer, because Rabbi Shimon says shor shaveh masayim. If there was an ox that was worth 200, you have it. Shanagach shor shaveh masayim, that gored another animal, another ox that was worth 200. Ve'ein hanevela yafa klum, and the nevela is not worth anything. Noitel. So what's left here? So there's nothing left in the carcass. There's only what's left in the animal that gored. So he says zenotel maneh v'zenotel maneh. So this one takes 100, this one takes 100. Chazar v'nagach sha'acher, if that same first ox went and gored another ox that shaveh masayim, that's worth 200. Acharon notel maneh, the last one takes his 100. And the first one, in this case, notel chamishim, only takes 50 zuz. V'zenotel chamishim, meaning the first one and the owner take 50. Chazar v'nagach shaveh masayim, if they went again and the same ox gored a third, that's worth 200. It says only acharon notel maneh. The last one is the one that takes 100. The second one, shalafanav notel chamishim, takes 50 zuz. V'shnayim arishonim, and the first two take a dinar, which is 25. And that goes also on Rabbi Akiva, the Amar Torah the Shutfeu, because now they're all participate, they're all become partners in the same ox itself. So the Gemara says, Reisha Rabbi Shmuel, v'sefer Rabbi Akiva. Life is easy. The Mishnah goes, the Reisha goes, the beginning goes according to Rabbi Shmuel, and the sefer is held like Rabbi Akiva. Amri, the sefer Rabbi Akiva. Amri ein got me there. Oh boy, let's see. No, what's the translation there? No, just read it. Just say, no. Amre, the sages said that yes, this is the case. Also, it was wrong. Okay, it's simple, but okay. Okay. Amre, the Gemara and the Chachamim say, yeah, that's the way it goes. The Ha'amara lay Shmuel Rav Yehuda, because in fact we see that Shmuel said to Rav Yehuda, Rav Yehuda Shinana, the guy either without teeth or the guy whatever, okay, with the right or a very smart one. Shinana can mean both.
Yep.
Which sharp, right? It's one of the two. Shvuk masnisin. Shvuk, what did I say? The shvuk masnisin. Show me that. Shvuk. What?
Leave the presumption.
The first clause in this accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shmuel. Right. He says leave it exactly like that. That the ratio is Rabbi Shmuel and the safes are Rabbi Akiva. And some in the brackets it says the Eastern Nami that some say that Rabbi Yochanan also hekdish and nizak ekubenayu. That there is a little bit of a difference between them, but leaving that out. Tanan Hasam, we've learned there hatokel chaveroi. A person who does what? No, tokel chaveroi. With regard to the gold dinar mentioned in the Mishnah, we learned in another Mishnah there that one who slaps atokel another is liable to give him a sela in compensatory fine, right? Liable to give him 100 dinars. Yeah.
If someone bought an ox, okay, it gets gored. So now sharing that new ox 50-50, okay?
Meaning the owners.
Yeah. And he gets another ox.
Who gets another ox?
The guy who lost his ox. We had a sell partner.
I think. Okay,
and
that.
Okay, and then it gets.
Well, see that really becomes the argument of Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Akiva. Are they partners in this ox that gored, or does the Ruvain become a person who owes money to someone? If you owe money, it doesn't make a difference how you pay it.
The finer restitution.
Right. Yeah. You can sell your socks and sell it, But if we said that if in fact our connection here is that we are partners in this animal, once that animal's gone, I don't owe you anything because we're only partners in this. I don't owe you anything else. Well, that answers your question. Depends on who we hold. Okay, let me go. Okay, so I don't know. I don't know what the halacha is.
And for another one of the animals, this meaning gets 75.
He gets more partners.
He gets more.
Yeah, depends. Depends. Yeah. If you want, you can read this. Explains where. Yeah. Oh, that's what he was reading.
I read this.
Okay, so a person who hits his friend, the Tanel has to give him a sela. Rabbi Yehuda says Mishum Rabbi Yossi Aglili Mana. What's the difference between a sela and a mana? Help me out here. A sela is 10 and a mana is 100, basically. Ahu Gavra, there was a man, the Takal Chavre. Huh? How much does it say here? What does it say? Yeah, well, he gives them a sela. How much is a sela? Does anyone know how much a sela is?
No. According to where? What time?
How much is a sela?
If it could be 100 or 4.
I don't know how much a sela is.
I think it was Oshana was
4 to the din. 4 to the dinner.
For dinner, I think sounds right.
What?
Sounds like for dinner.
4 dinners are in the
each fella is 4 then.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's 4 times.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, and how much is a month? Is 100?
I don't know.
100 dinners. As it says here, gives him 100 dinners. So if a sela is 4 dinar, a sela is 4 dinners.
Or it might be reversed.
Like
I know
a
the rabbi
minor.
mentioned something about
I know,
it.
it sounds-
There's a conversion of 4 to 1, but I don't remember what way it was.
Okay, whatever. Well, sela and a month. So there was a guy, Ahu Gavra, a big bully, the Takal Chavre that went and slapped his friend. Shalchei Rav Tuvia Barmatana Lakame. They sent Rav Tuvia Barmatana to him. Sent him to Lakame Rav Yosef. Sent him to Rav Yosef. Sela Tsuri Tanan. Or Sela Medina Tanan. So he's saying to him, which, yeah, so he says either you go and pay him. So if you ask him, inquire which one does he pay? Because apparently there was different types of weights of coins in those days. Or Sela Tsuri. Amarle Tinitua. We learned it. Amarle Tinitua. Rav Yosef said to him, you learned this in the Mishnah. And the first two divide the remainder, each receiving one gold dinar, worth 25 silver dinars. And if it's
1 dinar is 25 dinarim. Well, a dinar zahav. A gold dinar is 25 regular dinarim. 1 mana is 4
Oh,
golden.
so gold
That's what
color
it's
is
saying.
100, right?
so he's saying it's a regular dinar. Okay.
How much is the regular dinner?
It's this one, Sela Tsuri. Apparently.
1 dinar. 6.
Dinar. So Visal Kadata Tani Tana Sela Medina, because if you would have thought that's a Sela Medina, Niflo Venisne Ad Trey Service. It's again that you have to know the math from the Mishnah here. Is in the Mishnah it says if the third one, right, if the all were worth 200, and therefore the first one, the last one got the 100, and the second one got 50, and the last two got how much? And so it said here, dinar zahav, meaning 25. So he says that's why it has to be a Sela Tsuri and it can't be a Sela Medina, because if it was a Sela Medina, you should have gotten 16, not 25. That's basically what the Gemara is saying here. Right? I think I got that right. Visal Kadaita Tani Tana Sela Medina. If you thought it should have been Sela Medina, Niflo Venisne up to Ad Trey Sarvasela. It should have been 12. Meaning it's a different type of a coin that therefore would have been worth a different amount. So they're just simply proving from the fact that it's a dinar zav, and we know that had to be 25 because it was both worth 50. Tana, Amarle, Tana, Amarle. So he said to him, let's see here, Amarle, and here it's different. It's so funny.
Yerucham.
Yeah.
He's
Oh yeah, that's the page on it. I can't see it. Amarle, so Rav Tuvia Bar Matana said to him, this is no proof. Should the Tana have continued teaching additional cases exhausting all possibilities like the peddler, right, selling his way. So he says, you're shmagegi. You don't know how to read your own product. Shmagegi is a good word. Kirucho, would you think I'm like a little peasant peddler on the street? Belizel Mai.
selling his wares.
Yeah. Mai Haviala, Pushtua Meha. So he says, where you should learn it from, you should learn it from here. The Amar of Yuda Marav, so he says, where should I learn it from? So he said, learn from this place where Rav Yehuda, in the name of Rav, says, Kol Kesef HaOmer B'Torah, all, whenever it says in the Torah, Kesef, it's Kesef Tzuri. B'Shul Divrayim, Kesef Medina. And when it's talking about the Divrayim, and Divrayim means like the rabbinic. So he says exactly the opposite of what they said earlier. That we thought it was a Medina, but it's not. In fact, only when the Torah talks about Medina, but when it's between Divrayim, things that are Midrabanan, that's going to be Kesef Tzuri.
Are these different currencies?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's different currency or different weights of coins.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
mine
yeah,
was pink.
Yeah, because they used to cut
Scale.
their gold in different, and they still had the same name, but they gave it different value. Probably if one would turn around in our day and say, so how much is a dollar really worth? So it used to be a quarter, then 10 cents, and now it's worth -5. Even
Well, they measured it based off like, oh, it's worth this amount of like poundage of grain.
how
or
much
something.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So right now, for example, the paper of $1 is worth nothing. Back in the day, there was some value to it, but even coins, the value of the materials.
Yeah. He got off the gold standard at one time.
Amar Le, so he said to him, Amar Le al Gavra, so that person following this verdict, that man who was slapped, right, he had to get paid, said to Rav Yosef, since the fine is now only half a dinar, he's not getting a lot. I don't want it. It's beneath me. I'm not interested. Right? Nisra Aniyim. He says, go give it to the poor people. Hodar Marle, Nisre. And Hodar Nisre Nale, Azil
And he retracted his decision.
So then he took it back. I said, I'll go and sustain myself with it. He says, okay, I'll try to, go to the doctor with that little bit of money that I have and at least cure myself a little bit. Okay. Amar le Rav Yosef. So Rav Yosef said, Kvar zachu ba'anim, sorry, it's too late. The moment you said give it to the poor people, remember when you say something with your words,
No
you got to be careful. When you say something, you got to keep your words. And us Jews are very particular about trying to keep everything we say. Sometimes it comes back to bite us, right? But since the guy turned around and said, this worth is not a lot of money. I'm just going to give it to the poor people. And then he said, no, forget it. I'm going to keep it. He said, sorry, it's too late now. The anim already gained from it. Vaf al gav the lake anim. And what happens if there's no poor people around, right? There's no poor people here. Anan yad anim anan. The Chachamim says, I'm the extended hand of the poor people. The Amar of Yuda, Amar Shmuel, Yisoimim. Einan tzuchim pruzbul. The Yisoimim don't need to sign a pruzbul. That's what we sign when there's the Shemitah year, and people have to want to collect back their money. So you have to write a pruzbul. You have to write with the one who you've lent money to that he's going to write pruzbul. He'll pay you back. But a poor person, Yisomim rather, in this case says Yisomim, orphans don't have to. Why? Because the Beis Din are their extended hand. So he says here, when there's no poor people, the Beis Din collect the money. Tani Rami Bar Chama, it's the same. Rami Bar Chama says, "Yisomim en antzrichim pruzbul." The Yisomim, the orphans don't need a pruzbul to be able to collect their loans. Rabban Gamliel Beis Dinoi Avi and Shel Yisomim Hayu. It says Rabban Gamliel and his court were actually the father, in a sense. They were like the fathers of the orphans to be able to collect money on their behalf. Hanan Bisha Taka Leilahu Gavra. So the Gemara continues to say that Hanan, the wicked. Wow. Have you ever heard that one before? I never heard of that before. Hanan, there was a wicked guy, and he slapped a certain man. I see the dock coming into the parking lot. A dock is in the house. Okay. Hanan, the wicked man, slapped a certain man, and he then came before Rav Huna for judgment. The guy that got slapped. Rav Huna said to him, go give him a half a dinner, which is the fine imposed for such an act. Hanan, the wicked man, had a clipped dinner, which means it was worth less, and wanted to give him half a dinner from it. But there was no one who wanted to take it from him, right, to give him the smaller coin. Hanan, the wicked, then gave him another slap. I love this. Rendering himself to pay an additional fine of half a dinner, and he gave him the whole thing. Now that's a joke.
Oh, wow.
That's comedy. He says, you don't want my half a dinner? Boom. Here's another slap. Now take the full dinner. It's cool. I'm going to write that on my joke list. Okay, no, I'm really impressed. That's one of the first real jokes I've read in Gemara. Okay.
That's this Rava.
Okay, so we're up to the Mishnah. Is that right? Okay, so let's do the Mishnah now. Shor shehu muad. If we have a shor that is muad, I mean, it's notorious and known for doing such damaging things. Liminoi. And it's muad, it's known to gore other animals of its kind. So in other words, this ox is muad to gore other ox, but it's not muad, it's not known to gore sheep, let's say. La'adam ve'eno muad la'behema. What happens if there's a gore that's now been eaten, and the guy's had to pay already? He's already done 3 times he's gored people, but he's never gored other animals. Muad l'ktanim. Muad l'ktanim, if he is muad, meaning he's known to gore young, muad l'gedolim, but it's not. He's not. This ox is not muad to gore big ones. Etchu muad lo mishalem nezek shalom. If he went ahead and he's already muad, if this ox is muad to gore oxen, and he doesn't get another one, he pays full nezek. If he's muad to gore sheep and he gores a sheep, he pays nezek shalom. He pays the full amount. Muad, and then if he gores any of those animals or people, whatever, that he's not. I say muad in English. What's the right word? Warned. Interesting. Muad from the word aid. Okay. But it's meaning basically he's now known for doing it. Misham Chatzi Nezek, only pays half the Nezek. Amru Lifnei Rabbi Yehuda, Harei Ze Muad LeShabbos is what happens if you have a ox that whenever Shabbos comes, it goes out on a spree of goring animals, but never does it in the week. It comes Shabbos, ding, ding, ding. It's Shabbos, time to gore other animals.
It's not possible.
The Eino Muad L'chol, and he's not muad, he's not forewarned for goring animals on the weekday. Amar Lahem, so Rita said to them, the Shabbasois, Mishalem Nezek Shalom. Anytime he goes and gores anyone on Shabbos, he's going to pay full. If he does Limoy Sachol, if he went and gored once or twice during the weekday, he only pays half. He does 3 times, he becomes forewarned, right? Mishalem Chasina, so you're going to pay half the damage. And Masai Hutam, how long does he last and keeps on to the title of being a Tam, of innocent for that matter? If he goes and he gores an animal 3 times, 3 Shabbosim.
Do you think that Tom only applies to that category of damage, like to a young like sheep or something,
Well, that's
not
what it
the
was.
other animals?
Well, that's what it's saying. If he's goring only young, he's just used the little slings and he goes after them. That's what he gets forewarned for.
Okay.
Because it could be that the whole idea probably is that there was a little one and there was a big one, and each time he's going to the little one, he's passing. He's too scared to go to the big guys.
Yeah.
It has to be on 3 successive Shabbos, so he could do 1, 2, skip 1.
No, that was a earlier Mishnah about whether it had to be like successive damage one after another, or just 3 whenever throughout its life.
It was another.
I think it was successive. Yeah.
Because that time he wasn't.
No, after the
After by the third, he could do 2, skip 1, it starts counting, do that forever.
no. So the first 2 he gets only half Nezek.
The first one.
Goes to 2.
You're gonna get whatever they were.
Has to be 30 in a row. Yeah.
Always 2.
Then it go- yeah. Okay. Says the Gemara. Itmar of Zvid. They asked Rosie. So they asked a question of Zvid Omar. Zvid says, "Ve'enu muad."
I was able.
It was stated of Zvid said, the version of the Mishnah that we just learned states, with regard to an ox that is forewarned with regard to its own species, but is not forewarned with regards to other species, referring to an ox that is proven to be innocent in contrast. What's this?
Innocuous.
I have no idea what that word is. Regards
Not-
to the other species. He has no it doesn't care about the other ones, right?
No, it can't harm.
Oh, so it's ad k'dei kach, it's really become something that does not harm. Okay. If it gores another species, its owner pays only half the cost of the damage because it was never good. So that's what Rabbi said. Let me see, where's the Gemara here? About the Eino Muad. Hasta Mahave Muad. Oh, okay, I get it. Sometimes the Gemara is simpler than I think it is. Okay, so he says, when is a Muad? When it's something that it's destined to, and it's not Muad, and so the Eino Muad means Hasta Mahave Muad. That if not, it's clearly forewarned. Rav Papa Amar Eino Muad. Tanan the Stama Lo Have Muad. So when something, so the question is, it's the Gemara here is asking about the unspoken, unknown. When it says that something is not muad about something, about an item, it means that probably if otherwise it would be muad. Rav Papa says on the other hand, if it says eina muad, and stama is also lo havi muad, is also not muad at all. Rav Zvid daik miseifa, Rav Papa daik miresha. So Rav Zvid is how would you say daik? I mean, I know what it means in Hebrew, daik. No. Rav Papa, no. From the letter clause, where are they getting their specific ruling of this? That's an ordinary one. Is it muad or not muad? So he says, where are they getting their clause from? Rav Papa is referring it from the
Base
one,
is it on?
the Thresha and Zvid is on the Resha and Papa's on the Seifa. And Diktani muad l'ktanim ve'eno muad l'gdolim, because in the Sefer it says there, did I skip? No. Sefer diktani muad l'ktanim ve'eno muad l'gdolim. So he said that in the Sefer it says if he is muad, forewarned for the young, and he's not muad for the elders, iyamart bishlema ve'eno muad ktani. Oh, if it had said and ve'eno muad, and he is not. But if you didn't say, because you didn't say and, hastam have muad. So the truth is, he's saying, Rav Papa was saying that case, it should have been muad, even for the gdolim. If he says muad, if you use muad for young, and not muad for the older, then we say he's only muad for the younger ones, right? But what happens if he just sees any animal that's not that are gdolim, right? Stam. Then he would say that the ox is muad, because the only reason why he's saying that the gdolim is not muad because it says ve'eno, meaning he's been proven not to be muad for gdolim. Hastama, someone that we have not seen him with, he would have been considered muad. Understand that? It's a bit complicated. Ish? Huh? Versteht? I think I get it, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Ella iamart. Comprende. Ella. So I need to put this. Ella iamras enamuad. Tani stamalo havimuad. Because if it would have said enamuad, stama. Oh, yeah. Language here. It's like, oh boy. This is one of the things you really need to prepare, so you kind of keep your head on all of this. Uh-huh. Right. This one you really have to have a very fine understanding. But they're being medaic. They're picking out the word because they said this and not that. Therefore, it means this. So in the Mishnah, it's going like this. There's 3 different cases here. The first case, no, I don't think anyone's on. People come on and off. They hear me, they go off. No, I haven't prepared. If I prepared, I would know it. I would tell some good stories along the way. But this is terrible.
Good.
Okay. I'm gonna get to the good stuff.
I'm sure the audience from is just gonna go.
By the way, Shannon, the Rabbi Yomi says the other
The smart
interpretation.
one.
That's one,
And
and
then the
that is
people
Tifa's
too.
no, because he bucked.
But yeah.
Just saying, I was listening to you.
Yeah.
That's the other interpretation.
So we have 3 cases. Let me see if I can work this one out. I mean, I'd have to concentrate a bit. Okay, there are 3 cases. One is between muad for its kind and non its kind. Okay. The other one is to people and not to animals. Another one is for young and old. Those are the 3 different kinds. Okay.
Young what?
What?
Some kind of young thing.
Here, I don't think it's. I think it's if it must be its kind.
One is people and
Here
Yeah.
it just says
The other
young
is-
animals to mature
right.
animals.
That's what I'm saying. It's not specific to which kind. Okay. So he's saying like this: if muad lemino ve'enad she'eno minoi hastam ve'eno muad. First one. So here comes the question. Okay. So I'm going to ask you all a question. Tell me if now, based on what we've just semi-discussed, you can understand the issue. If this ox is known to be muad, forewarned for it and for oxen, and it is known that it's not muad, l'she'eino mina, meaning to sheep and goats, right? This ox by itself with people, is it considered a muad or not?
I think if
Apples
it,
and oranges, you can't
if it
compare.
doesn't have the history,
Okay,
He
so
would have to
that's why he's saying, no, so therefore he's saying it's so therefore he says stama enamua. That's Rav Tzvi.
Oh, yeah,
Rav Tzvi is saying, let's go this again. The enamuad. One second. Rav Tzvi Amar the enamuad. Papa Amar enamuad. The question is when it says there, let me know. When it says right at the beginning, the eno muad lebehema, right in the Mishnah. Shorshu muad leminoi the eno muad l'sheno mino with a vav. This is Rav Tzvi says with a vav the eno minoi tnan, and Rav Papa says eno muad. He takes out the vav. Okay, so far so good in the Gemara. Tnan Rav Tzvi Omar the eno muad. The reason why he says ve'eno muad, why? Because he's saying tnan ha stama have muad. He says because if it didn't say that, if you just say an animal by itself, an ox would be muad. And by saying ve'eno muad, that's how you identify that it's not. Because if you didn't say that, you look at this ox that's been muad for something, and you say he's always going to be. Rav Papa says eno muad. Not the stama, because the Mishnah is actually talking about a general that's lo havim muad, and that's it. So okay, so that's the argument. Now let me see if now we're going to go into the deal. Rav Daikem is seifa, Rav Papa Daikem erek, Rav Tzvi Daikem is seifa to because and Tzvi says ve'eno muad. So in the seifa when it talks about ketanim and gedolim, so it says there. Ve'enu muad l'gdolim, right? Iksanim muad l'ktanim ve'enu muad l'gdolim. Iyamart bishlema ve'enu muad ktani astama v'muad. Hai kamash malan da'afilu miktanim l'gdolim nami. Stama havimuad. And that's why he has to add it. Iyamart enu muad ktani stama lavimuad hashta shlemar miktanim l'gdolim da'alma stama. I'm playing. I understand the logic, but I'm having difficulty putting it into the words. Yeah. He's saying that according to Rav Tzvi, we're playing. The Rav Tzvi saying that it has to say ve'eno muad, and therefore the regular is muad. He says, why is that? Because when it comes to ketanim and gedolim, if it wasn't that way, then you don't have to tell me that for gedolim is not, because that would have been obvious. Yeah. So he says that the word at the end is proving that it has to be a ver with a vav. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know I'm saying it, but I'm not. I know for sure that that's what the Gemara said. I'm just not clearly understanding its full. So if the stam was that he was not muad for ketanim, if he was therefore not, you have to tell me that he's not muad for gedolim. It would be obvious. And that's why I have to say that the third teifa, because otherwise you wouldn't have known it. According to Rav Papa Amarlach, Rav Papa says itzrich. You actually need it nonetheless. Sal kadaita hamina uilu paratz beis. Since this ox has shown itself to break out and gore that particular animal, once it's showing that it likes to gore oxen, it's not showing you necessarily that it likes older, large ones or younger ones. It's showing you that it sees oxen and it goes out. And we're not clear if it's young or old. We just say that it's becoming. That's what you were asking. Is it going of its own kind? So once it's going another ox, does that tell me that it's only going after that size? It's not. It's getting very general. That's why he has to say Eino. That's why he's saying Eino muad, not ve'eino muad, and to teach us at the seifa that here it could be an extension that not only does he gore oxen, but he can be specific to either older or younger.
So now we have to know when does it
apply to
a specific species.
What's this?
So now we have to find out at what point does it become a specific species. When does it become a muad for just older animal, younger animal, sheep, or?
Well, that's why the seifa is in addition to the ratio, because without the seifa, you would not have known the ratio. because
You need those.
when, if
both
you just had
together.
the ratio, you would say that he gores an ox, and Shalom would ask me, is it what happens if it's older or younger? And I say, I don't know. Oh, but then comes the Mishnah and says, now it does depend. If he gored an older ox 3 times, it became muad only for the older ox.
See, thanks.
Rav Papa Daik Meresha. So Rav Papa did it the opposite. He got the diuk that it has to be from the ratio. It's with adava. Diksani muad la adam, eino muad la behema. When it says there that if the ox is forewarned for people, and therefore he can be a situation where he's only muad for people and not muad for animals. If you said, and we can understand, eino muad tnan stama lav and muad, that right, that if we see now that this animal is muad for people, but now stam, if he's not going to anyone, is he muad for other animals? We would say no, because he only gored people. So he says bishlama eino muad tnan stama lav and muad, and therefore the animal by itself, without hitting anyone right now, is it considered muad or not? We say it's not muad for other animals. Hakamash malan dafilu me'adam lebehema nami stama lav and muad. I don't get that. Okay. No, nami stama lav and muad.
Right, you were the first spot.
Hmm?
Are you talking about the animal referred spot?
Who's on now? Who's on it now?
Here, it says like for the animals to revert back, it has to be around people 3 times. I'm not sure that's right.
They were right up to here.
Everybody
Elliot.
just moved it on this.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay. I try. I won't tell any funny jokes. Oh, this is complicated. As stated previously, Rav Papa referred his opinion from the former clause of the Mishnah, the ratio. As the Mishnah teaches, an ox that is forewarned with regard to people is not forewarned with regard to animals. Granted, if you say that we learned that the Mishnah states an ox that is forewarned with regard to its own species is not forewarned with regard to other species. Okay, which would indicate that in an ordinary case where there is no proof to the contrary, it is not considered forewarned. So if he's just considered a tam because we don't know with regard to other species. Then the Mishnah in the next clause teaches us that even from being forewarned with regard to people, in an ordinary case, the ox is not considered forewarned with regards to animals. That makes sense. Okay, so that part I got. The ox is considered how do you pronounce that word? Is it innocent?
The Tom. It's
Okay, so that's what I get, but in conscious, whatever I
Like
get.
it doesn't make harm.
Unformal.
No, unformal, exactly, with regard to animals. Although it is more common for an ox to gore other animals, but because he is forewarned with people, therefore he becomes a tam when it comes to other animals, which makes sense. But if you say that the Mishnah teaches it from the first clause with regards to an ox that is forewarned with regard to its own species, but is not forewarned with regard to the other species, indicates that an ordinary clause is considered forewarned with regard to other species, then there's difficulty with the following clause in the Mishnah, now that it can be said that even from being forewarned with regard to one species of an animal, in an ordinary case, it is thereby considered forewarned with regard to other species of an animal. Need to be said that from needed be said that from it being forewarned with regard to people, it is also considered forewarned with regard to animals.
Whoa.
So that you see, you get that? I mean,
Criminalized, yeah.
it's very wow. I mean, it's like
He's a predator.
yeah,
He predates cats,
Right.
dogs, people.
anybody.
and-
Once he became a muad, he gets the title.
Wow.
Right. That's right. Wow.
Is it because like if it goes after people for sure, it will go after an animal?
I think once it's showing that it has an instinct to gore, therefore he's saying stama, therefore its regular situation would be considered. Unless you learned it the way Rav Papa said. That's what he
So he's saying it's the opposite. It's
and that's why it's not.
It's a threat. It's not a threat to every species after it's
No, so he's saying if you did not use it from the way he's learning it, that's what you would have thought. That this animal, you better lock it up because once it did this, it's dangerous for everybody.
For
Right.
the whole internet.
Yeah.
Cause he's all gore.
Right. Al Gore, man, you're old. Do you know who Al Gore is?
He
No.
invented the internet.
Yeah, he was the vice president. No, thank God. We have other ones to hear about. Right.
Of when?
He was
Biden makes up enough of them.
he was the Al Gore, wasn't he with
He ran against Bush the first time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
They had to recount.
When-
They did.
his brother made him.
Never mind, it's
Yeah.
totally innocuous.
Someone who tried to run for president didn't
Jeb
make it.
was governor.
Why, was he bad?
That's how.
Okay,
Innocuous.
so now where are we? Sricha. Resha. Okay, so here we go. Amar.
Joke. It's not supposed to last 5 minutes.
Navi Muad, right. Rav Zvi Amar, so Rav Zvi now is going to counterattack that statement. He says, Reisha Chazra, Kai. So Rav Zvi could have said to you in response, the former clause in the Mishnah relates to the ox, meaning the Reisha, referring to an ox reverting to its innocent status. In case where the ox was forewarned with regard to a man. Interesting. So here he says that if you didn't follow my way, in fact, without my way of thinking, you would have thought that a muad animal, stop being muad, can change its nature.
It's even a new identity.
Yeah, new identity, right? Because the fact that it's saying now, because the beginning it's muad for itself,
Yeah.
and then it says, oh, what happens if he's muad for the people and not the animals? He changes, right?
Oh.
As opposed to once you got this one, you can't be this or that.
Witness six.
I'm gonna speak, when you said I only steal from,
The wealthy
well,
only.
when I see a poor person, I don't touch him, when I see an animal, I don't touch him,
Right.
I just. The other guy, once he's a thief for rich, he's a thief for everybody.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Once you're a thief, boy, the poor
You're
people
labeled.
shake
Yeah.
because they'll take everything they have. You know? Okay.
Funny how this comes up right after politics.
Yeah, it's true.
What do you say?
It's funny that thieves come right up after politicians. So are we? Kigon dahai muad la'adam, muad la'behema. So he says, like that case, when if in that case, once he's muad for Adam, he should be also muad for one for animals. Bahadar behema, but now he stopped goring animals. Kai gabe behema tlata zimni v'lo, because if now he passed by, he became forewarned for people, but he passed by animals 3 times and didn't gore them. Mao, what would be the case there if the Gemara is actually asking according to this? What would be the case? Mao the tema kivan de lo hadar be me'adam chazar de behema lov chazara. Since he's still forewarned, he's still muad for people. Therefore, he's not excused, and he's still going to be considered muad for animals, or not. So they're asking a question: in other words, if he hasn't gored anybody, then maybe he's done.
You have to have a mixture.
But if he says that if he's true gores people, he's not goring animals, does he now take away his muad from being forewarned for animals? Kamash malan, that's what you would think. Lo chazari kamash malan, that it is, because the Mishnah says that you could be muad for Adam and not the animals. That's the proof.
Steals only from.
Right. Kamashman the Chazar de Behema Mia Chazara. So he says, we see now from our Mishnah a ruling that he can change its nature. Is that what it's saying there? That's big time.
Reason that he changes being more to animals to
Right.
more to people,
And it just stays with people, but not with animals.
it's like changing a drug of addiction.
Yeah.
An addict they're always an addict. that just
Yes, but he's
changes.
saying here. So let's
Drug
we
of
say that
choice.
since it did not demonstrate virtue as people and not to refer to right, the Mishnah therefore teaches us that its reversal with regard to animals is nevertheless it's considered a reversal,
But
and it
it's still
no
more-
longer has the status for warm for oxen with regard to goring
But
out
it's more
for people.
It's
It has to be
interesting.
changed now.
So just like we say, Adamuad Leola,
Right.
what's more, like, you're always a muad. The ox is always
Like
a
in
muad,
sleep.
but he can change his drug of choice,
Right.
in this case, object.
But what I'm trying to say is that if it's on like just a sheep farm and it only gores sheep, then it's not a case that it's more for people or other animals too.
Ain't
Because it's
nobody
only
else
in one
do.
place. There's not a mixture. If there's
Well, if it
sheep
pa-
and donkeys,
but maybe
and
it's
people
saying
all
here
over
that if
the
it
place,
passes oxen 3 times, it doesn't gore, it's off.
right? That's a key. I think.
Yes. So there's a whole shear for Hasidus, can an animal do tshuva? I mean, that's the things that we're muad for. We can't, it says in sleep, it says Adam muad l'olam. That's the word. Where's that come from in sleep? That a person who's in bed, he's destined, and there's kalim, and there's vessels in your bed. You're muad, you're gonna break them. Because you can't control yourself when you're sleeping. So it says when a person's sleeping, he's muad l'olam. That's one of the first places where it talks about that concept. But here and you can't do tshuva from that. You can't say, I promise I won't do damage when I'm sleeping. We don't have control over our act where we move our hands or whatever. So he says, but animals here technically can. Okay, sumchus, that famous sumchus.
Yeah. That's just.
Meisve, they ask like this. Sumchus oimer. So sumchus is like this. Muad la adam. Muad la behemoth. He has a very interesting statement. Huh? I just keep on going. Bashi? No. No, Bashi? No, we're Lamed Zayin Umadal.
Sumchus says in wood with regard to people.
Okay. So it goes like this. Sumchus says, if the animal is muad la'adam, is forewarned he's already gored people 3 times. He says if he's done it for people, he's automatically muad lebehema. He now gets the title of being forewarned for animals as well. And how does he know this? Mikal v'chomer. He knows this from a kal v'chomer. Does everyone know what a kal v'chomer is?
Yeah.
You know what a kal v'chomer is? You know what a kal v'chomer is? You know what it is? Okay, I don't know.
Rabbi Smith's
He gave it-
example is that if a weak man could lift 5 pounds, for sure a strong man can lift 5 pounds.
That's the kal v'chomer, right? So he says like this: Uma la'adam muad, uma la'adam muad lebehema lo kol sheken. If this animal gets red flags in his eyes when he sees people, how much more so when he's going to see another animal like itself? Michlal, but from here we say that Tanakama enamuad. From that statement, we can determine that Tanakama says that if he is muad for Adam, he is not muad for Behema. Well, that's obvious because we see that in the Mishnah. Kamar. Amar Rav Zvid says like this: Sumchus achazrakai. Vechi kamar No, that's not what he's saying. Rav Zvid is explaining. He says that really Sumchus agrees that just because he gores a person, it does not necessarily mean that he would be muad for animals.
Right.
So what is Sumchus saying here? That it is. He's saying Sumchus is referring to the question of chazara. Can an animal do tshuva? Can an animal change its nature? And this is what he's saying to Tanakama. And this is what Rav Sumchus is saying to Tanakama. The ka'amras that you said, chazara, the behema chazara, that an animal who passes by 3 other animals shows, and it didn't gore, it's showing that it's not muad for animals, that it is chazara. Chazar the behema, so he says, no, chazar the behema love chazara. That just because it didn't gore another animal 3 times, it doesn't mean that it's not muad for. It just means that he was feeling weak, it didn't have his coffee that morning, whatever the reason is, and that's why he didn't gore. But just give him the chance, okay, and a good coffee to get him going, and that animal will be right back to goring other animals. And he says, Mikal v'chomer. He's going to learn this, Mikal v'chomer me'adam. He's going to learn this, a kal v'chomer from people. Uma me'adam. Lo kai mehadar ve'hi. He says, since we see that if a person is that, how do we see that? Because this animal did not do tshuva from people. He was muad for people, right? And not for animals. Oh, now you tell me, oh, he didn't gore the animals 3 times, so now you want to think he's done tshuva. He says, no. If he had done tshuva, he would have done tshuva from people also. He says, Uma Adam lo kama hardarbe, since he didn't refrain from goring other people, maybe lo kol sheken. If he's still capable of goring people, how much more so he'd still be wanting to gore animals, even though he didn't do it now. In his inclination, he still can and will do it. Amar Ravashi. Ravashi says, Tashma, come and listen. Amru lifnei Rabbi Yehuda. They came and said in front of Yehuda, if he was known to be a muad, forewarned to only gore animals on Shabbos and not during the week, and he said to them, then on Shabbos you will go and pay the full damage, and on the week they only pay half nezek. So now they cite this. They're asking, Ravashi's asking. If you said, and I could understand, the Shiyulihu the Kamishali that he's leaving left. Okay, that gets complicated here. Shiyuli Mishale. Come on. Okay, I'm going to take a break on this one. This is hard.
Time specific more.
Yeah. Shiyuli the Kamishale, Unamikimahadalu, and Yamat, Ainamot Ksani. Gemara. I'm inclined to stop there. Granted, if you say that the Mishnah teaches, but was not forewarned, meaning and not forewarned, with regard to weekdays. So then, what are they? They were asking him about the halacha in that case, and likewise, he was answering them with a ruling. But if you were saying that it teaches this ox that is forewarned with regard to Shabbos is not forewarned with regard to the weekday, the Mishnah would be understood as saying that an ox that is forewarned with regard to Shabbos is not considered forewarned with regard to the weekdays. It's possible that the sages were just simply teaching him this halacha, and furthermore, what was he responding to?
Teaching the ox or the owner?
They had already stated themselves that the ox is not considered for the weekdays. So he's saying if that's the case, you don't have to say anything about the weekdays. Once you say he's muad for Shabbos, it's he's not muad for weekdays. So what were they answering when they said for the weekdays? Rav Yanai said that Rav Zvi's opinion can be okay. This is too much. No, I can't concentrate. Now I'm going to wake up from this nightmare that I did.
Fools rushing where angels speak.
You did amazing. I'm a fly.
Oh boy.
This is very good.
Well, I think you got a Gemara joke.
Were you there for the
No,
The slap at the dinner, the chip dinner.
It says Misha, the bad guy, the wicked guy, goes over to someone and slaps him.
I
slapped
you again.
I thought it was beautiful.
I thought it was funny.
Hey, you gotta get his money's worth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay you the whole thing.
I was busy walking, cooking.
He was on here
He
still.
doesn't even know my name. He volunteers. That's not my name. My name is Rafael.